Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see all your lovely faces today. You might know me. I'm the queen, and this is my friend. She's a beautiful princess. Do you guys know us? Have you seen us before?
We hope so.
We're so happy to see you. This is so exciting. How's everyone doing today? That sounds magical. That is wonderful.
Well, today we have a very special friend with us. Her name is Laura, and she's a storyteller. Would you like to say hello, Laura?
Hi, Laura.
Yes. Hi. I'm so glad to see all of you. And thank you, princesses, for coming. I know princesses are very busy.
We are. We do have a lot of responsibilities, but we had to come and be your host this morning for the Winter Story Theater, which is a part of Community Day for the holiday celebration with the Newark Museum of Art. So thank you all for being here.
And thank you for the royal invitation.
Well, since I am the Snow Queen, you guys probably know what my favorite season is. Do you guys want to call it out?
Winter.
That's right, winter. My birthday is actually on the winter solstice, which is coming up on December 21st. Isn't that so exciting?
Yeah.
Birthday.
For your birthday?
Well, we are kind of limited this year, so we can't use all of... Oh, do you have an idea?
Yeah.
Really? What should we do for my birthday?
The picnic.
A picnic?
That sounds like a great idea.
That is such a great idea. Thank you. How wonderful. Maybe we could do that in the Enchanted Forest. That way all my friends can do that too.
Mm.
You can do. I know what you can do. So.
That's perfect. So we'll have a little picnic this year, and then next year we can use all of the 8,000 salad plates.
Well, you know what might be fun? If Laura performed some winter stories for us.
Oh my gosh, that would be wonderful. Laura has so many amazing stories. Would you guys like to hear them?
I know I'm excited to hear Laura's stories.
Me too. So, raise your hand if you want to hear some cold, snowy stories. Who wants to hear? You do? Oh, that's so exciting. But first we have to change up the mood here for Laura because we are celebrating the winter today. So, can you all help us make snow for Laura? Yes? Okay. Now, do you all know what I can do? You do, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the ice powers, okay? But don't do them for real because we don't want to create an eternal winter everywhere again. So can you guys all go like this? Put your arm out like that. Okay, perfect. So we're going to make it snow for Laura. On the count of 3, point at Laura, make your ice powers move, okay? And we're going to send her into a winter wonderland.
Ready?
Ready? 1,
2,
2, 3.
Oh.
It worked.
Good job, everybody.
That was beautiful.
Thank you all so much.
Oh,
I love
you're
to tell stories in the snow.
yes, now it's just the perfect setting, isn't it? Look at that winter wonderland behind her.
Now that's more like it. I just can't wait to hear these stories. Laura, will you take it away?
Okay, thank you. And thank you, children, for wishing for winter. When I was a little girl, I loved winter. And you know why I loved winter? Because the snow fell so much that it covered my entire backyard in Brooklyn. I had to put on snow boots up to my knees and walk in. And when it was really, really cold, the snow was thick and hard, and my brother would make snow forts and snowballs. But you know what I like to make? What do you think? Snowmen. And my mother would take my father's scarf and wrap it around. We would put a carrot for nose and vegetables for eyes and sometimes old shoes. And we had a really good time. But one day, I said, Mommy, can I have a snow girl? And then my mother took off the old wool scarf from the snowman, got a long silk scarf and wrapped it around. And she put red shoes on the bottom of the big snow body. And she got her wedding veil. And she wrapped it around my father's hat until all the lace hung down. And then we put 2 buttons for eyes, and we cut out red lips from peppers. And my snow girl looked so good. I said, Mommy, she's real. And my mother said, wait till tonight. And when I climbed into bed, can you pull the covers right up? She told me a story about a Snagorotchka. Do you know what a Snagorotchka is? It's a snow girl in Russia. You ready for a story?
Yes.
Good. Thank you, princesses. Princesses have very special ears for listening to stories, since they not only live here, they also live in fairy tales. Once upon a time, there was an old man and an old woman, and they had no child. And they wished for a child. And one day, when it was the beginning of winter and the snow was falling, they went into a forest to chop wood. And the old woman said, oh, I've always wanted a child. Let's make a snow girl. So they built a snow body, just like the one that you're going to color in. They put 3 big snowballs, one on top of the other. And then she took her scarf and wrapped it around the snow head. And she closed her eyes and she said, oh, I wish you were real. And you know how powerful wishes are, don't you?
Yes.
The old man and the old woman wished and wished and wished and wished and wished so much that Father Winter and Mother Spring, who are in charge of all the seasons, heard it. And they decided to grant the wish of the old man and the old woman. And so Father Winter and Mother Spring blew 3 times. Will you help me? And suddenly, the snow girl came alive. Her eyes opened and closed, and she was wearing embroidered boots. She had a most beautiful scarf and coat of many colors. The old man and the old woman thought they were dreaming. But the snow girl said, I was sent here by Father Winter and Mother Spring. Old man, old woman, will you be my parents through the whole winter? What do you think the old man and the old woman said?
Yes. I hope they said yes.
Yes. And so the snow girl, Snogorotchka, started to walk behind the old man and the old woman, and they went to the old man and the old woman's house, and they were so happy. She was so nice. She loved to play. She loved to laugh. The thing is that she hardly said a word. And at first, the old man and the old woman were so happy, but they wished that their daughter would speak. So she said, hello. good morning, but nothing else. And you know, the old man and the old woman were so happy that they forgot that she was made of snow and came from another world and would only be there through the winter. Every day they woke up so happy they couldn't believe their luck that they at last had a daughter. And months passed and the snow fell, and she didn't say very much. And she never wanted to go outside. Don't you want to go out and have friends, they said. But Snogoruchka said, well, I'm here for you. I would just like to stay inside. I never want to be separate from you. But sometimes she looked out the window and she looked at the forest. She loved to see the trees covered in snow. And you know what happened, don't you? When the last snows were falling, can you make the last snows fall? Snogoruchka said to the old man and the old woman, I can hear Mother Spring calling me, and I will have to go soon. And then they remembered that she was a very special gift, and that she wasn't a real child, but a snow child. So one morning, she kissed them on each cheek. She hugged them both. She thanked them for being so good. And she said, I will never forget you, but I have to go back up to the clouds for the spring. And the old man and the old woman said, we will never forget you. Thank you. And you know what? She left her beautiful embroidered boots right by the door. And then Snogoruchka started walking and the snow stopped and the sun was shining brighter and brighter. And they just watched her disappear. That's beautiful, Aya. And soon what was on the ground was a puddle of ice cold water. And they saw a shape, like a beautiful cloud in the shape of a young girl, rise up to the sky. And then for a moment, they were sure they saw Mother Spring come out of the forest and then disappear. And the old man and the old woman were so happy that they had had a winter with the Snogoruchka. And you know, they were very poor. So one day they took those embroidered boots and they sold them in the market, and they were never, ever poor again. And those boots were sold to a princess who gave them to her mother, the queen, who then gave them to the Queen of Romania, who was friends with my grandmother. And you know something? There is a small winter palace in the north of Romania. And in the bedroom where they say the Queen of Romania loved to sleep and dream and listen to fairy stories, there are a pair of embroidered boots. And that's how I came to know this story of Snogoruchka. In the morning, when I woke up, I said, Mommy, do you think my snow girl is still there? And we ran outside, and there she was. Well, we fixed the wedding veil, but my mother said, Laura, you know, when the sun shines, she'll start to melt. And then my mommy did something I really loved. You want to hear what it is? She took a piece of paper. She drew 3 round circles, and we colored all day, and we made snowmen and snow girls and snow princesses, and we dressed them and colored them so that I always had
What happened? Oh,
Snogoruchka. And you have, if some of you have that. So if you want to draw, we can look at it later. I didn't finish mine, but I will. Would you like to hear another snow story?
Yes.
Oh, look, I see some snow. Do you want to hear another snow story, princesses?
Yes, we do.
please.
That one was so amazing.
I've never heard that one before, but I'm so glad I got to hear it today.
Well, I'm going to tell you the oldest, once, long ago story.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I can't wait.
You know, in the north of this country, there is a big, massive land called Alaska, and it is winter there almost all year long. And the snow is there so that people actually make houses made of snow. And they have a story about how the world began. Children, can you make it snow again? They say before anything existed, there was only snow. And flying through the snow for thousands of years was the most beautiful black bird named Raven. Raven was a god. And Raven was flying through the snow. Can you fly through the snow? And then one day Raven turned, just like Emmy's turning, and some snow became a snowball on one wing. And Raven loved to play, so he tossed the snowball to the other arm. And then it got bigger, and he tossed it to the other, got bigger, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And whoa, that snowball got so big that Raven had to fly underneath it and carry it on his back. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was as big as our entire earth. And Raven, whoo, for the first time, Raven stopped flying. That's a beautiful idea. And Raven stopped on top of the great ball of snow. And then he was so curious. He started digging and digging. Come on, can you dig in the snow? And digging and digging and digging. And he found in the soil that was under the snow 3 seeds. So he planted them. And then he heard a sound. And up from that huge snowball that was the earth herself, there grew an enormous tree. And on that tree were lots of leaves like pods. You ever see pea pods? And Raven, well, they look kind of like this, and they open. And inside are lots of peas or seeds. And they started shaking and shaking, and poof, they opened. And in the first one were all the 4-legged animals that ran on the earth. In the second were all the birds that flew out. And came the sun and the moon and a zillion stars in the sky. And then there was a little one. Out came all the fish, and they said, "We need water." So Raven took his wings and he melted the snow and made rivers and lakes, and all the fish went in. And then he moved the snow and shaped them. There were mountains, there were trees, flowers started growing, everything started happening. All of a sudden, you ready for this? Lucas and Sophie and Julia and Emmy and Aya and all the rest of you, the rest of the parts were shaking and shaking, and poof, they opened up, and inside those pods were little naked people.
Oh my.
And Raven said, "Who are you?" And they said, "Who are you?" And Raven shook his head, and his raven beak fell back, and then his feathers fell back, and he had the face and the hands of a human being. And they said, "We look like you." And Raven said, "Are you people?" And they said, "We're people, and we're cold." So you know what Raven did? How many of you have winter coats? Do you have special princess winter coats?
Oh, yes. We visit so many kingdoms, we have to.
Oh, Raven took some of the feathers from his wings and he made the first winter coats, and that's how people were warm. And that's how they say the entire world began. It came from snow. And that's that story.
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Laura. Those
you're
stories were
welcome.
so great. What did you think?
That was amazing. I can't believe they were naked when they came out.
They must have been very cold, like they said.
Mhm.
Which one was your favorite?
Well, I think that. Do you still have one story left, Laura?
I have two little teeny stories.
Oh,
I
we're
have
so
one
lucky.
story that is a little spooky. Do you like spooky stories?
Oh, yes.
Really? Well, if you're there with a parent and if your parent gets scared, just tell them it's only a story. You know how funny adults are? Anyway, in Japan, there was a young man who, in order to go to work, had to take a boat from one side of a river to the other side every day. And there was a ferryman who rowed that boat. And when he would get to the other side of the river, he would stop and have tea with the ferryman, and they were friends. One day he worked very late, and the snow was falling. Everything looked just like it does behind me, icy and white and cold. And when our young man got to the river, there was no ferry boat, and the ferryman was not there. And he thought, oh, it's so cold and the river is frozen. He must have stayed on the other side of the river. I hope he has a place to sleep. And so the young man went into the ferryman's house and he got into bed and he fell asleep. And in the middle of the night, the wind was blowing. Can you make the wind blow? And the door opened, and standing in the door, princesses, you'll love this. Everybody will love it. There was standing a woman with long white hair, as long
Whitney?
as
I think so.
Princess's Rapunzel's braid.
Wow.
And she was wearing an all white dress. And she came to the bed where the young man was sleeping. And usually, when the frost princess comes into a room, she puts people to sleep with her cold breath. But our young man woke up and he looked at her. And she said, oh, now that you've seen me, I can't put you to sleep. But you must promise to never tell anyone ever what you saw. You could never describe me. And he said, I promise. And she disappeared. When he got up in the morning, the ferryman was rowing. He got in the boat. He wanted to tell the ferryman, you know how when you wake up and you have a dream or something really amazing happens, you want to tell somebody, but he couldn't. Years and years and years and years passed. And then one day when he was walking home, he saw the most beautiful young woman. But it was very cold and she was shivering. And he said, what are you doing on the road all by yourself without a coat? And she said, well, I'm trying to find a place to live. I had to leave my home. He said, well, my mother's very kind. Come to my house. And so she went to his house. And you know, they ate and talked, and every day they talked. She ended up staying there. And that young man fell in love with her. He asked her to marry him. She said yes. And they
Oh.
were so happy. She gave birth to 8 beautiful children.
8.
Oh my.
That's like
That's a lot of children. That's a lot of years.
Wow.
And one night, she was sewing by the fire, and he looked at her face, and he said, "You look so familiar." He had never seen her in that light. Do you know who she was? Can you guess?
Does anyone have a guess?
Tell us what you think it is.
I think it was the girl that will put him to sleep.
Oh, let's find out.
I'll tell you what happened. You want to hear what happened?
Yes.
Okay. He said, "From the minute that I met you, I thought I knew you my whole life. And that's how we feel when we make best friends or we fall in love." And she looked at him and she said, "Who do I remind you of?" He said, "Well, I cannot tell you." And she said, "You can't tell me?" "No, I can't tell you." And she said, "Please, I won't tell anyone." Do you think he should tell her?
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Whoa.
It depends on, is he a good secret keeper?
Well, he made a promise, and we should always keep our promises.
Yes, that's very important.
Well, you know what? He began to describe her, the snow frost woman that he saw that night. And as he spoke, his wife got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon all the room was filled with snow and frost. And the wind blew the door open. And she disappeared. Wow. And he went outside. And everything, the 8 children, the house, the snow frost lady, they were gone. All that was left was this story.
Oh my.
Wow.
That sounds like my coronation day.
Yeah, that's a lot like it.
Mhm. Yeah. Do you guys remember when I accidentally froze the entire kingdom?
But thankfully, it didn't disappear forever.
Yeah. Yes, but I didn't do it on purpose. You guys know that, right? You guys know. Well, is
Can I tell you the very, very last story?
Yes.
This
yes.
story happened in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh,
I don't think I've traveled there before, but I want to.
aren't you guys from that kingdom?
Well, Megan is from the Newark, New Jersey Museum Kingdom. It's
Oh,
filled
wow.
with treasures, and all day long today you can even see some of those treasures.
I have
Wow.
to.
Now, there was a little boy. You following this story? And can you children help me tell this story? I'll ask you questions. This little boy had a dream. How many of you ever had a dream?
Me.
Ziggy, did you ever have a dream?
I have a dream that I can go to the beach all day.
Ah!
It's fun.
Love.
Well, this little boy, you ready for this, everybody? He dreamed that he found a small key under his pillow. And then he woke up. And you know what? He lifted his pillow, and what do you think was under his pillow? A key. So he got dressed and he went out on the street, and it was snowing. It was a good thing that he had on his snow boots, and he was holding in his hand inside the glove the little key. And he said, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I must be looking for something. And he tripped. And then he saw something sticking out of the snow. And he dug and he dug. And there was a little treasure box, but it was locked. He said, what's a treasure box doing on the street? And so he took out the key. You think it fit the lock?
Yes.
And he opened it. And he was very surprised about what was in that box. What do you think was in the box? Children, you can unmute. What do you think was in the box?
Treasure.
What else?
Maybe
Treasures, yes.
some rubber ducks.
Rubber ducks.
Wow.
That's a good guess. Was it Tinkerbell?
Ooh.
Tinkerbell?
Ooh.
Wow.
Yes. Money.
Well, let's hear from Laura what it really was.
It was a teeny tiny animal tail.
Oh my.
A teeny tiny animal tail. You know what? That's why this story is so short. Okay, one more quick story. You ready? Once upon a time, there was a girl, and this girl heard a story in Siberia about a moon man. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I shall tell you the most amazing thing. You know who her best friend was? A reindeer.
Like Sven?
Or
Best
Rudolph.
friend. And this story said, don't go out at night because the moon man wants to come down to the earth and he wants to marry you and take you back up to live in the sky. She said, I don't want to live in the sky. Better not go out. But you know what? She was the kind of girl that liked to do everything. So she at night climbed on the back of her reindeer and off they rode through the ice. And all of a sudden she looked up and she saw the moon. And then she saw the moon man in a carriage coming down to the earth. She said, reindeer, I thought stories weren't true. Reindeer, hide me. And you know what the reindeer did? Jump off, he said. And she jumped off and the reindeer's horns dug a hole and he buried her in the snow. So when the moon man came down, he said, Harl, where'd that Chukchi girl go? I'm going back to the sky. Up he went. That girl laughed so loud that the snow blew off her. She climbed on the back of the reindeer and the moon man said, I knew you were there. And down he came again. And then the reindeer took her right to her yurt, which was called Churunga. It was like a big tent and she went inside. She said, reindeer, hide me. He said, I could turn you into a knife. She said, he'd see me. I can turn you into a blanket. He'd see me. I can turn you into a lamp. There'll be a light and the moonlight won't see you. Turn me into a light. And he turned her into a lamp and the moon man rushed inside. And you know what? He looked everywhere. He looked under the table. He looked in the bed. He opened up the cabinets. He looked at everything. He couldn't find her. And so he went outside. And you know what? Just when he climbed into his sled, she went out the door. She said, Moon man, I tricked you. Whew, back he came. Reindeer, turn me into a lamp. Turned her into a lamp. I can't find her, said the moon man. Out he went. It went on so long that he was tired. And so
Wow.
the moon man lay down on the snow. Oh, he said, I'm too tired to ride back to the sky. And that Chukchi girl, she said, Moon man serves you right. And she took a rope that she had made of reindeer hairs and she tied up the moon man. And he said, oh, please take me inside so I could be warm. She was so kind. She was about to take him, but the reindeer said, Don't take him inside. That moon man likes to live in the coldest, coldest, coldest place. He's trying to trick you. She said, Moon man, don't trick me anymore. And the moon said, I'm so alone in the sky. I just wanted to take you with me.
Aw.
Moon man, what if every evening I come outside and I wave to you in the sky and we could be friends?
Aw.
That sounds so
And
sweet.
the moon man agreed. She untied him. The reindeer was very close just in case. But the moon man climbed in his sled. He went back up to the sky. And you know something? Since then, whenever the moon is full, everyone goes outside in that Chukchi village to wave to the moon. So he's never alone. And sometimes the moon gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then they go outside and they have to call, Moon Man, we love you. And the moon man grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's been like that ever since. And those are my snowy stories.
Wow. Everybody give Laura a round of applause. Can everyone say thank you, Laura, for those stories?
Yay, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Did any of you color in your snow people?
Well, let's see them.
Let's see.
Everyone, can you hold up your...
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, there are some great ones. Wow, look at that.
That one is my favorite.
Oh,
We didn't
Sylvie and Amelia, beautiful. Oh, Alice, there, you did two. There are two there. There's Snow People friends. Wow, those are beautiful. You know what? Oh, Dominique and Joseph, can you show that to me again? Did you make something else? Did you make something? Oh, look at, oh. That's a really unusual snow person.
Snow people come in all shapes and
Wow,
sizes.
those are fantastic. Oh, and these are snow. Nicole and Jason, John, and Eric are throwing their snow people around the room. Goodness. Beautiful. Well, that's that. Princesses, can you tell us why winter is your favorite season? And maybe then some children could tell us if they like winter.
Well, there's just so many amazing things to do in the winter. You can ice skate. You get to celebrate wonderful holidays no matter what you celebrate. All the holidays are so much fun. You get to go sledding. You get to catch snowflakes on your tongue. And you know what my favorite thing to do is?
Tell me.
To catch them on a piece of black construction paper. And then you get to look at them and see that every single snowflake is different. None of them are the same. And you get to see all of the beautiful designs.
Wow, I need to do that with my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone at home going to do that?
Yeah, you should
know
try
what
it.
Megan wrote that she likes to do? She likes to snuggle in the winter under a huge blanket.
Oh,
That's so
How
much
many of
fun.
you are blanket snugglers?
Me. My favorite thing is to go into the village and get some hot chocolate.
Oh, I love hot chocolate. Does anybody put a lot of marshmallows on top of theirs? Like me?
Ooh, how do you do this?
Yes, marshmallows and whipped cream and lots of sprinkles.
Oh yes, sprinkles are great too.
I put crushed candy canes, marshmallows, and whipped cream.
Ooh.
That sounds delicious.
I need to try that.
Yes.
Well, you know, because a lot of us are home, you can draw lots of snow people, and you can even put clothing on the snow people. And you
Yes.
can make snow princesses, you could even make snow monsters.
Ooh.
Oh, like marshmallow.
Yes. If you're extra brave, that sounds like a great idea.
Yes.
Oh, look, do you have other dolls that you want to show us?
Oh.
Aya is eating part of a snowman.
Oh.
Becky, what are you? Oh, Becky, look at those beautiful dollies. Oh, they're wonderful. Oh, how nice. And Billy is showing us her snow cat.
Oh, wow.
That's so exciting.
Wow.
So
I
did
hope-
anybody have a favorite story from Laura? Which one did you like the most?
Let's see. I told Snuggleruchka.
That was my favorite.
I told Raven. I told the spooky story about the snow girl. I told the story about the boy who found the key, the shortest story ever. And I told you the moon man from Siberia. You could make your own stories. Look what we have. We have a snow star tree and an upside down snow. Oh, a snowman that's sleeping. Now he's standing up.
Wow.
Oh, look, a leprechaun snowman. A green snowman. That's beautiful. Wow, lovely. You were the best audience I have ever had.
Yes, this was so much fun.
Thank you, Laura. See, as much as I loved Snogurushka, I also love the story about the moon man. I couldn't just pick one.
Yeah.
Well, look at that. We're seeing a photograph too. So many things you have to show us. Oh, look at that. Ziggy's showing us something. Emmy, that's gorgeous. Is that a pen?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you. Is that a pen that you have there? You know, I love to write stories and draw. And look, I can see inside your houses.
Well, Laura, thank you so much. We enjoyed your stories. They were so magical. Yes, and we hope that you all enjoyed them as much as we did.
Yes, the fun is just beginning. As Community Day, the holiday celebration continues.
I enjoyed the stories.
You did? How
Me
wonderful.
too. Raise your hand if you love the stories. Yes.
Well, I loved all of you. And you know what? I'm going to show you some magic. Would you want to see magic before you go?
Yes.
I would love magic.
Okay. Do you think I could turn the day into the night?
I want to see you try and do it.
Yes.
You ready? Count to 3 again.
1,
1,
2,
3.
3. Can you say 3 again?
3. Wow,
That's so exciting.
look at the snowflakes.
3.
Okay, everyone. Well, I want to make sure that you don't miss the Holiday Jamboree, which is coming up at 2 p.m. today, where you will see performances celebrating Three Kings Day and Kwanzaa. Those are wonderful holidays as well.
They are. So check the link in the chat to sign up.
Yes. Thank you all for spending time with us today. Can everybody wave goodbye to each other? It was so lovely to see you all.
It was. Thank you again, Laura.
Yes.
Thank
and don't
you,
forget,
Snow
believe in your
Princesses.
wishes.
Thank you, children and parents, and thank you all the snow people, and thank you, Megan and Newark Museum, and thank you, Snow. Have a wonderful day all day at the Newark Museum.
Thank you, Laura.
You're
Goodbye, everyone.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.